Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to briefly talk about the new movie, Horizon, an American Saga, Part 1. This is part 1 of a planned 4-part movie series directed by Kevin Costner, which I think is an interesting way of creating a movie series, so I thought I would check it out. If you end up enjoying this video, please consider liking and subscribing. That way I don't die from dysentery while traveling in the West. The synopsis is as follows. Families, friends, and foes discover the lure of the Old West as the Civil War divides the country. Rather than dive into the 6 things that make a movie great, I thought I would just briefly talk about this film, seeing as it's a 4-part series. Now, heading into this film, I knew it was going to be for the long haul. That seems to just be a trademark of Kevin Costner at this point. I mean, I grew up watching The Postman, Waterworld, Dances with Wolves, and so the runtime for this one is just over 3 hours long, which I was kind of excited for. I like really long movies, especially if they hold your attention and do a good job, but I wouldn't necessarily say that's what this one did. The Western feel of the film was awesome, but in this movie you're following 3 to 4 groups of people, each with their different stories, different challenges, and goals as they try to navigate the Old West. And while I think this movie started well and visually it is stunning throughout, the further along this film got, the more convoluted it seemed to get. I think that's in large part due to the fact that this movie doesn't really have any sense of timeline. Like, you'll be with one group of people and something will happen, and then you'll go to another group of people, and then you'll come back to this group, and there is some amount of time that has passed, obviously, because different things are going on, but you're not sure how much time. And so when you're doing that with 4 different groups of people, it becomes convoluted and confusing. And the problem is that there's not a ton connecting these different groups of people. I think it would have not only benefited the film, but also the continuity of what's going on to have there be some sort of relation between all of these groups, but there wasn't, other than the Western theme. Not only that, but it also greatly impacts character development, because when you don't know how much time has passed, then the relationships that certain characters have with other characters doesn't really make sense. There are a ton of recognizable actors and actresses in this film, which is always fun, but I will say that some of the acting, especially in the second half of this film, was just not very good. And there were a handful of scripted moments that were annoying, confusing, and borderline nonsensical. There's a bit of blood and gore and violence in this movie. They snuck in a bit of sex and nudity near the end. There's a mild bit of profanity, and obviously the runtime makes this not as suitable for a lot of people. It seemed that the target demographic of a film like this was an older audience, and even though it was a little challenging, my cousin and I stuck it out until the end of this film, but the same could not be said for a couple of the older people in the movie. I get that it's a 4-part movie series, but there's gotta be enough going on that you hook your audience and keep them engaged for all of these movies, not just with the promise that maybe it'll pay off in the 4th film. And the point in which you arrive at the end of this movie is nothing special. And it just did not leave me all that excited. Will I go see them? Yes, because I'm committed at this point and I watch these things so you don't have to. But overall, I walked out of this movie feeling a bit underwhelmed and disappointed. So to briefly sum things up, I enjoyed the Western theme, the visuals were incredible and allowed you to be fully present in the film. A lot of the acting was good, some of it was very distractingly bad. I enjoyed a bit of the script, but again, some of it was equally bad. There was a real lack of sense of timeline, which made all the different storylines convoluted and confusing to follow. And there just wasn't a lot about the different stories going on in this movie that left you wanting more. I can't say that I'm stoked to go see the next one in August, I think, and I wager that many people just stop at this one. But if you are wanting to watch it, I'd say you probably don't need to watch it in theaters, unless you're a diehard Kevin Costner fan. But even then, if I had to stick a rating on this movie, I'd probably give it about a 5 out of 10. But it's hard for me to want to rate this film not knowing what comes next. But its standalone value for me was just not that high and not very entertaining. Thank you so much for watching. If you've seen Horizon, an American Saga Part 1, please let me know what you thought about it in the comments below. As always, I appreciate your love and support, and I'll catch you guys and gals in the next one.